Welcome to Sure Thing. We're Lakey Peterson
and Kaleigh Gilchrist, two athletes who love exploring the world and sharing our stories.
We'll be taking you through the good times, the tough times, and everything in between.
Basically, it's about chasing dreams, staying inspired, and having fun along the way.
Thanks for hanging out with us. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Sure Thing pod with myself and Kaleigh Gilchrist. We're doing a big old deep dive on Kaleigh today. We've talked a lot between me and Kaleigh about different topics, but I figured it would be interesting to hear Kaleigh's entire story for myself and all the listeners out there, because you've done a lot, Kaleigh. Not just in water polo, but in surfing and in life. And yeah, I think it'd just be interesting to dive in. So you ready for today's episode?
Bring it on. Let's do it.
All right, let's bring it back. Let's start where we always do when we're interviewing guests and we've talked about it a little bit, but obviously your childhood, you grew up in California, very similar upbringing to me, I think. You were super athletic. Name me the sports you played as a Grom. You were in, I'm assuming, everything.
Yeah, so I started, swimming first, then led into basically flag football. Basketball was my first love, actually. Loved basketball to death. Water polo, surfing, snowboarding, dirt biking. We have a house out in Arizona, so we would grow up during Thanksgiving and just go quadding and dirt biking all the time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we still have the house, but we don't obviously go as often or enjoy it as much. But every Thanksgiving, there'd be 20 of us. And we're probably 10, 11, 12 years old, just ripping around on quad bikes. And then I progressed to a two-wheeler dirt bike. So yeah, just full tomboy, love sports. Yeah. I've come from a sporting background a little bit. My mom's not athletic whatsoever and passed that down to my sister, I believe. But my dad... my dad and uncle swam in 2 Olympic Games. So they swam for Canada. And they grew up in a tiny little town in Canada, northern British Columbia, called Ocean Falls. And they got recruited to USC to swim. So that's how they made it down to America, to California. And they swam, Uncle Alan swam in 1948 and 1952. Super old, back in the day. The stories he told was so crazy, they didn't even fly that much. So they took a giant barge to get to the London Olympics in 1948.
No way. How long did that take them? A month and a half to get over there?
I think it was God, maybe it was 10 days or something. And the pool was 10 yards by 10 yards. So you couldn't really train before your event. So all you could really practice was flip turns or turning. I actually don't even know if they flip turned yet by that point. So they would try to it'd be 2 strokes to the end, trying to train before your biggest event. Obviously the Olympics were still a big deal back then. So that's crazy. And then my dad, so Uncle Alan was one of the oldest. My dad's one of 9. My dad was one of the youngest. So he competed in 1964 Tokyo Olympics and then the 1968 Mexico City Olympics. And he had some good results, but he got, I think his best, he got a couple fifths and a 4th place. And before Paris Olympics, I know I'm jumping ahead, but before Paris Olympics, I always gave him crap. I was like, this is what a gold medal looks like. And sure enough, karma bit me in the butt and was like, I got 4th. I got the worst place you could possibly get at the Olympics.
Oh, no. And what was their events in swimming? What did they both swim?
Canada's, especially that time, they didn't have a lot of elite swimmers. So if you were kind of decent or had talent, they just threw you in everything. And I didn't really understand this until my dad kind of shared it and until I got older. And you would see the amount of events. He swam 6, 7, 8 events in the Olympics. But his best was 400 IM, which just, if you guys know the swimming world, that is the worst and the hardest thing to swim. So it just shows what a lunatic my dad is. Yeah.
Oh my. That is as much pain as you can put yourself in, I think.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So yeah, they kind of just swam a little bit of everything. But there was definitely an athletic, talented background. But I was never forced into sports. It was more this is my group of friends. I grew up right by the beach and we had this killer group of friends and we would go to elementary school. Newport Elementary is on the beach. So we just bike there and have our little 10-person gang. And I was just doing whatever they were doing until I like
Yeah.
realized, oh, this is awesome. Like I love sports. I love competing. I love training.
Yeah. And naturally just obviously just gifted in athletics, and that was what guided you into what you want to do. And then we're going to get a little bit into your high level that you competed in surfing, but did you start surfing before you started playing water polo? Did that come first?
It was almost simultaneously. Like I was 8 years old for both sports, and I actually can't remember when. So for water polo, that same group I told you about, they all played maybe like a session before me. So it usually is like winter, spring, summer sessions. And they're like, you should sign up. Come with us. Like, you like to surf, you do junior lifeguards or whatever, like come with us. So that's how that started. And within the same summer, my mom was trying to figure out ways to get me out of the house because I actually was too young for junior lifeguards at the time. So she just signed me up for a bunch of camps, football camp, basketball camp, surf camp.
The best.
And it was Corky Carroll surf camp at Bolsa Chica, actually.
Corky Carroll, shout
Corky
out.
Carroll. I know. I think we'll have to put up a photo. It's like me and Corky Carroll like 30 years, 25 years ago. And I remember doing it that summer, and I like hated it. I was so over it. I did 2 sessions, and it wasn't until that same group of friends picked up surfboards that Christmas, got surfboards, and we would go with our bikes, have our bike racks, go surf Blackies, and we're probably barely standing up. I remember like my first board was a 610 flamed Russell surfboard. And we would go surf Blackies and then there used to be a Carl's Jr. there, and get French toast dips from Carl's Jr. That was like every Saturday morning.
Heck yeah. That's epic. I swear that's how you get into surfing, though, is you need friends, because if you go alone and you're trying to learn by yourself without someone, it's not that fun. It's like you're just falling and then you're getting water up your nose. Like part of it is just going to the beach and hanging out at the beach and then getting Carl's Jr. after whatever you're going to get, like that's half the experience of surfing or learning to surf.
Yeah.
I feel
so
like.
we didn't have cell phones at that time. Like I think I was so fortunate to grow up in an era. I mean, I'm going to be like sounding like grumpy old person right now, but an era before cell phones, like our parents trust us. It was come home before the street lamps go on, or hang out in the back alley, but don't go anywhere further than that. And it was the same thing for surfing. Like, I still remember my friends' childhood phone numbers because we'd call Friday night and be like, okay, are we meeting at 32nd Street in the boardwalk to go surf? Like, yeah, see you at 8:15. And we had like, our wetsuits halfway down. Like, we were just kooks, like our board racks, and then just biked, 10 streets down to Blackies. And it was just, that's what we did for weekend after weekend. And slowly but surely you start progressing. And Newport's really cool in the way that it's almost a rite of passage. Every jetty up is like a rite of passage. So you start at Blackies, and so many Newport people's surf careers have been the same. You start at Blackies, and when you figure out, okay, I know what I'm doing, I kind of know the rules, you get to 28th Street, and then you get to 32nd. And I remember 36 was a big one for us, and we kind of we're all on the 30th streets, like we all lived within 5 to 10 blocks. So we stayed at 36 for a long time. And then it was like, okay, it's time. We got to start progressing. 44th, 48th. And I still remember to this day, the day I surfed 54th Street and 54th. How scary. And it was like scary and intimidating. And this was like, now you see people paddle out. And it's like, I do miss a little bit of like the hazing that used to happen.
Oh, no, bring it back. I'm over it. Bring the hazing back.
Bring it back. Like, I wish people felt scared to surf 54th Street. But
yes, I'm with you.
And maybe I was like younger, and I really do think the waves were better back then. Like 5'4" was just like what you saw in the mags, like Echo Beach. It was just peaks and just like all the time. So I paddle out, and I still remember to this day, Nick Johnson, he was a pro surfer. He lived in Newport, and Andrew Doheny obviously like grew up to become pals with him in surfing, but he was out there. My first wave, I think I feel like a kook. I fall in front of them. My second wave, I get burned, and they yell mags at me. Do you remember mags?
No.
Men against girls surfing.
No way. They yelled it at you.
I was just, like, mags. And I was just like, so rattled. I was probably like 11, maybe 12. And I just like went up the beach, like so embarrassed. And but it taught me like humility. And, I worked my way back up. I proved myself. They always said what's up to me. And then, like they
Yeah.
were great to me at that point. But I wish like it was
Yeah.
almost more of that because it taught you a lot of
Mhm.
just etiquette and respect and responsibility, for sure.
Yeah,
But
for
there's a
sure.
couple other there was a couple other hazings. Like I remember, I won't say names, but there was a couple guys that were a few years older than me, and they took my bike. And you'd lock your bike up. They took it off of the post it was locked up on and went
Oh,
and put
no.
it over the lifeguard tower. So my
This is
bike was
pretty
like
gnarly.
Yes, my bike was,
Hazing.
like, hanging on the lifeguard tower, and I was like, "I don't know what to do, like, do I walk home? Like, this is the walk of shame right now." So I had to walk, like, 20 streets home, and luckily, like, shower, whatever, and then I think I, like, made my dad come and help me get up my bike
Get it.
back, and I was just like and I see them, like, laughing in the corner. It's like, "No."
Do you
But
do you
girl
think that was
surfing was
because you were a girl? Is it because you were a girl or because they were just like, "Nah, don't blow up the spot"? Or
I think
obviously because you were a girl, it sounds like, kinda.
Yeah, for sure, because I was a girl, and I mean, they gave crap to my friends too, because we weren't, like, totally core. It's not like we grew up, like,
Yeah.
in the surf world or had surf parents or anything, so it was a little bit of both, but I would say mainly because I was a girl surfer, and remember, at the time, there was none,
Wow.
like, my idol was, like, Erica Hosseini, like, she was a
Mm.
Newport Ripper
Yeah.
legend,
Yeah.
and
Shout out Erica.
she was the only other surfer in Newport girl surfer in Newport. I mean, even to
Yeah.
this day, there's not too many, but yeah, so, it
Yeah.
was just, like, humbling, but awesome, like,
Well, it's funny.
taught me some tough skin too, but yeah, that was a little bit of my intro to Newport surfing, and Newport's, like, relatively known for being or at least back in the day, for being core and where the
Yeah.
industry is, so many companies have started in Costa Mesa or Newport, and there's just so much
Yeah.
surf history to Newport, which is really cool.
Mhm.
And I got to, a little bit of taste of that, and then now everyone's the best to me. I mean, this community is amazing, so I'm stoked,
Oh,
but
of
I'm glad I
course.
had a little bit of that in my childhood.
Yeah, you're goated now. You're the queen out there. You've earned your stripes. You could just sit at the peak and go in whatever wave you want at 54th Street. 100%. No,
Uh,
that's really cool. I didn't realize that it was like a rite of passage to work your way up from like all the streets. I didn't know that. I always when I was young,
yeah,
I had a couple contests at 54th, but I didn't realize that's pretty cool actually. I'm into
it's so
that you
cool,
got to
so
start at
every
one spot and come up.
Yeah, and every jetty. So you remember, like, all the jetties are every 4 streets, and
Yes.
you wouldn't assume Newport, like, if you don't know surfing that well, or you didn't even know Newport that well, like, you wouldn't think the waves 4 streets away would be that different, but the angle
Yeah.
of the beach actually does change and picks up different types of swells. So 4
Mhm.
streets really does do a big change of the wave. So it really was, like,
Yeah.
upgrading, like, 36 to, like, 44th was, could be 2 feet difference on a south swell.
Wow.
And then you add
I
another
never
2
realized
feet
that.
to 56. So, and not
Yeah.
only was it like, yeah, you're trying to do, like, local status and make it to the next jetty to, like, be cool and be, like, where the good surfers are, but it's also to progress your surfing as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a good way to do it. If you're learning to
Yeah.
surf, just slowly step
Yeah.
up. Um, okay, so you got into it, you started surfing a bunch, you were intimidated, and then when did water polo come into the picture? Like on more of a serious scale, because obviously you were dabbling in a lot of different sports. It sounded like, but then when did that become like, oh, I'm pretty good at this and I'm enjoying this?
Yeah, so I think most of the sports, ended basically in 6th grade, and then the 3 that I wasn't willing to give up yet was basketball, surfing, and water polo. So
Okay.
for down at home or here, you go to Newport Elementary or you go to elementary school till 6th grade, and then there's only 2 years of middle school, 7th and 8th. So I was like, I wanna continue to play basketball. I love it. Like, I grew up and this is where my
Yeah,
love for Kobe and the Lakers began. Like, I grew up in the
yeah,
era of the 2000 Lakers and, like,
the
remember
best.
where I was watching them win, their NBA titles and watching, Robert Ory hit the three-pointer in their
Yeah,
Western Conference, like, I just that was the love, and I love to play, and,
yeah.
me and my guy friends, we would, like, write up in our notebooks and journals that I still have, like, plays and, like, pretend to
That's
be like,
sick.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, oh, like, I have all that stuff and all different types of school projects written down. So basketball was it for me. But I think
Yeah.
by 8th grade, I knew that I was good. I was probably, one of the better ones on my middle school team, but I was just so much better at surfing and water polo. And obviously, I've
Yeah.
always loved surfing. And then water polo, I just knew that I began to love it, but it was an easier route for success in regards to college and things like that. And I don't know if that was in the back of my mind yet, but definitely was the right
Yeah.
decision to make.
Yeah.
And then
For sure.
for water
In the long
polo, like
run.
going, yeah, totally worked out. But I think there was a school project that I wrote in 8th grade, and it was like foreign languages class, and it was a cookbook actually. But they
Hmm.
made us write about the author on the first page. And it's like, my name's Kaleigh. I grew up in Newport. I have one sister. I have a corgi named Ty, blah, blah, blah. And then there's one paragraph we had to do in the future. So it's like,
Yeah.
in the future, I'd love to go to the University of Southern California on an athletic scholarship for water polo and
Aw.
compete in 2 Olympic Games in 2012 and 2016.
No
And
way.
so the dream was there. Like when I was in 8th grade, so what are you, 13 years old? Like the
Yeah.
dream was totally there. But I think my progression of surfing from basically 8th grade to college changed that dream because I was having so much more success in surfing. And that's when
Mm.
I started peaking, I guess you could say, in my amateur career and
Mhm.
realized like, oh, I could compete. So the dream was always there. And then it kind of didn't come back around until after college or college.
Yeah, for sure. And then you went to Newport Harbor High,
Yeah.
correct? And that water polo program, I feel like even at a high school level is a pretty high level water polo program, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like pretty legendary. And it was pretty great because, well, Coach Barnett, who was a huge mentor of mine, he passed away in 2018. But I
yep.
had him for all 4 years as a coach. And he was also an Olympic coach in the 80s and maybe even
Oh, no
92
way.
for the men's team. And he
Yeah.
coached at Newport Harbor for 47 years.
47 years.
Yes. So like
Whoa.
he won, I don't know how many CIF titles, 13 CIF titles, and he was both
Yeah.
men's and women's coach. So by
Wow.
the time I got him, he dropped the men's program, I think maybe like mid 2000s, maybe early 2000s, and he took over the women's program. And this is,
Mm.
he's a little softer. Like there's horror stories about Coach B like lifting high school kids up by their ears when they did something wrong out of the pool.
No
And just like
way.
radical
Actually.
stuff. Yeah, like radical stuff like that. Like I hear Coach B stories from older alum and I'm like, no way. But by the time I
Wow.
got him, he was a little more soft, a little
Yeah.
older, like realized, okay, I probably can't get away with the things I used to. And he was just
Yeah.
a really good mentor, coach. He taught a lot about like the process and the fundamentals and doing
Mhm.
things right in the beginning so you could build off of them. And I think that was something that set me up great for college and beyond.
Yeah.
Even preparation, like we were probably at that time, I'm sure everyone does it now, but at that time, his wife, Marcia, would be on the
Mhm.
roof filming our games.
Wow. All
And
in.
then we
Family
would
commitment.
all in. And then we would go back and watch film, which doesn't seem
Mm.
crazy this day and age, but like, yeah, you have like, there's all these apps and it's so easy now to do so. You can, break down video
Yeah.
so easy. But back then it was like, pause, rewind, pause, stop, pause, go through and
Yeah.
scout. And this is like 2006, 7, 8,
Yeah.
that we're doing
Yeah.
this. So he taught me a lot about preparation in that sense of like learning from video, scouting your opponent,
Mhm.
fundamentals. But when I went into my freshman year, everyone is saying, because he's notorious for being really gnarly, they're all like, what are you going to do? Like, is Kaleigh going to surf? Is she going to play water polo? Surely you can't do both. You have to pick.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to give up either or. Like at that point, I think I had my first sponsor, O'Neill, which was,
Yeah.
yeah, like I started getting sponsorships and like starting getting a little bit of recognition, started doing NSSAs at that point.
You were doing well. Just to pause, you were right up there with all of us who ended up making the tour at that point. Like you certainly could have made the tour if you had gone all in on surfing, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, you were competing with all of us and winning.
Thank you. I
So
know.
yeah,
That's always like a what if? That would have been super fun. And it's not like I
yeah,
don't want to be that like bitter athlete that like lives in the glory days, but I'm like like Tom's so funny because I've only known Tom. We met 5 or 6 years ago, and I'll like sometimes talk surfing or like we'll watch World Surf League. Like, oh, I grew
yeah.
up with her. Oh, like, oh, that was sick. Yeah, like blah blah blah. And he's like,
Hmm.
what are you talking about? Like, you don't know them. I was like, no, I promise. Like,
Oh,
I actually am okay. I
yeah,
was good
she
at
does,
surfing at one
Tom.
point. Yeah.
I'll
And
vouch
he
for
just
you.
like, yeah. And he was just like, I don't know, wasn't around because it's always like,
Yeah,
that was my peak of my surfing career was probably that amateur career. But
yeah.
I made a deal with Coach Barnett. It was basically like I can miss off season morning trainings because we were pretty intense program where we did double days and it was like full on.
Hmm.
So I got to
Hmm.
miss off season and surf Newport Harbor surf team. In season was water polo's off season in the fall. So I was able
Right.
to completely do surf team and compete in all of Newport Harbor, do states, do NSSA. Like it was really, really fun. Do league.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and the surf team was awesome. And he just allowed me. I think he realized I was passionate about both and wanted to do it and I was committed to both. So he allowed me. And I think with his support of both sports, it allowed me to dream big into continuing both sports and not having to choose one or the other.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
Sundays in high school are always our days off, and girls only surfed on Sundays for NSSA and the primes. So
Wow.
I would have a
It
game
worked
on
out.
Saturday. Scheduling totally worked out for me, and it kind of has
Yeah.
throughout my career in a way. But yeah, like I would be getting out of the pool Saturday. We'd have like a game in San Diego or a game in Barbara, and then I'd be
Mhm.
driving to like Oceanside for an NSSA the next day. So I
Oh
have to
my
shout out
god.
my parents for just
Yeah.
all the driving up and down the California coast.
Oh my gosh. You realize now, don't you? Like you did way more than me by doing two sports. And I just even think about my parents now when I was just doing the NSSAs and how much driving that is every single
Yeah.
weekend is insane.
Yeah,
I
but
can't imagine doing water polo too.
I would say you were Santa Barbara though, so you drove to like Oceanside or Huntington every
Oh
weekend,
yeah.
and that's like behind, Huntington's in my backyard. So there was
Oh,
definitely a
true.
lot of mileage as you guys put in there too.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so then you did Newport Harbor, did the surf thing, which is really rad that the coach allowed you to do that and kind of just have that experience and didn't fully push you out of it. Obviously realizing that you were good at it and passionate about that kind of just as much as water polo. And then you end up going to USC, which again, I would put USC as one of the top highest schools you could go to for most sports, honestly, but certainly water polo. That's always been a thing. Their just whole aquatics program is pretty high level. And do you feel like I'm just curious going there? You had Jovan as a coach, and I feel from the outside looking in at just high level sporting colleges, you kind of got to be pretty all in at that point from my perspective. But how did you feel once you kind of committed to the SC? You're going to play water polo. Did that feel like I'm not going to let go of surfing, but the focus shifted a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, I think that was a really big pivotal moment in my careers and life essentially because I always dreamt of going to USC, even going back to that, piece of paper I wrote in 8th grade. And that when I got recruited, I think it was my junior year, I was like, okay, I'm going to SC. Like, this is sick. And I grew up in a community,
Yeah.
like Newport's a community. And my friends I was hanging out with, like, you go to school, you go to high school,
Hmm.
and you either play sports or you do well in school or both. And then you go to
Yep.
college and you join a sorority and you indulge in the college lifestyle. Like, there wasn't my surf friends, like, were basically you, but no one in Newport understood
Yeah.
what surfing is and the homeschooling aspect and what the QS looks like. So I was the rare one that understood that. So it was the norm to go to college. And I knew I always wanted to do it. I grew up going to
Hmm.
USC games. Like my sister is a year older than me. And obviously I look up to her a lot. And she went to U of A and I visited her and got a little
Yeah.
taste of what college is like. So, But that summer was my best summer of surfing, probably in my career, even though it was amateur and I know like such a smaller scale than what you guys do. But I won back-to-back US champs, and it was the first time I was at lowers. And that was
Yeah, it's
like
a
the
big deal.
biggest, yeah, it was like the
That's a
biggest
huge deal.
contest. And I think we were in New Zealand that year, and I think I finished top 10 at Worlds, which is like, was my
Yeah.
goal. And that was sick.
Yeah.
So I was coming off my best results that usually most people would be like, okay, the trajectory in the surf world is the next thing she's going to do is probably go on the QS and do the
Mhm.
QSs and hopefully make the tour. So it would almost be easier if I had a shitty senior year and just like had bad contest results and
Yeah.
be like, yeah, let's just go surf. And I also qualified for, it might have been the same year, might have been my sophomore year, but I made the finals of the Pro Juniors at US Open when there was still a Pro Juniors there. So
Yeah.
that qualified me for World Junior Championships in Bali.
Which is a big
And I was
deal
like,
as well. That's really putting you on the trajectory to then try and qualify if you make World
yeah, and
Junior
this is when it was
Championships, for people that don't know. Yeah.
still at, and this was at Karama's, like a right, like
I remember
this was
that
like
one.
so sick. And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah. So I go in thinking I can do what I've always done and do both. And I
Mhm.
was quickly reminded that that's not the case, that the level of commitment in college and especially at USC is another level. Like you're
Yeah.
going to USC, if you're getting recruited and if you're on a little bit of a scholarship, like you're going because you're the top 10, 15 recruits of the entire nation in water polo. You're
Yes.
going
Yes.
to win national championships.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of hard work. So I go and my fall
Just a little
was,
bit. Just a
yeah.
little bit of hard work.
And at that time, Sorority Rush was the week before school. And then I think it's that first week of school too. So here I come in, this little Newport girl thinking she can surf, go and rush a sorority. I had to hide it from my teammates because it's frowned upon.
What
If our
sorority
coach
did you
found
go?
out,
What'd you get into?
Pi-Fi. I made a pie. Which there's
I
classic
love that
videos
you
of
did
like,
this.
I know. There's classic videos of like Rush, like we have like hair flipping and we sing songs and we dress up the same. Like it's wild. I'll have to find those
This
videos
is so
actually.
good.
So
I
it's
can't
my
believe, sorry, that you're surfing, you're going to USC with Jovan, and you're rushing a sorority. Like, good way to just dream big, because holy
I
moly.
know. So it's the first week of practice and off-season practice. So fall's off-season for girls, and then winter's kind of season, winter to May. So we practice 6 to 8 p.m. And then Rush,
Yep.
I had to rush over to Rush sorority at 8 p.m. with like wet hair. And like, mind you, imagine like all these USC girls done up, probably got their hair
Oh.
done. And I'm like coming in late on my bike with a teammate of mine. And we're like hair's dripping wet, trying to make it in line. Like, oh my God, I hope they want us. So that was like my first week.
Just so judged by these girls too that just are
Totally.
perfect everything. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I love it. I love it.
And I just thought I could do it all, and then slowly but surely water polo picks up a bit more, and like Jovan's kind of getting on my case a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I guess I should take it back a little because I never did. There's this thing called the ODP. It's the Olympic Development Program, and you get recruited. You kind of get recruited or invited to try out, and it's basically like the stepping stone to the senior national team, which becomes the Olympic team. So I'm from basically 14 years old to 18 years old. There's like a cadet, a juniors. Like I don't even know enough about it, and I probably should know more. But I declined the offers. I went to one tryout, and the waves were good.
Wow.
And this was when I was like 14 years old. Coach Barnett's like, please, will you go to one? I said, I'll go to one.
Yeah.
And I didn't even go back to the second day because the waves were good. It was over a weekend.
Oh my.
So when you deny your, USA Water Polo, where people are frothing to get an invite, they kind of like frown upon you or turn you down maybe. And I just did a different role. Luckily, I came from Newport Harbor that has such a great and prestigious program. So I still got recruited to a big school, but I wasn't like highly sought after in the recruiting process. Like I still got recruited to all the big four schools, the Stanford, UCLA, SC, and Cal. But I definitely wasn't like, didn't get a full ride, like none of that.
Mhm.
Jovan didn't assume I was going to be starting my freshman year or anything. Like, so he kind of turned an like blind eye to me, and I would just go through the motions and get through practice. And here are my other two like some of my best friends, but they're freshmen and they were highly sought after, and they
Yeah.
had potential, and they were getting yelled at, and like,
Yeah.
just because they were supposed to start and help
Yeah.
bring this
You're
program
like,
national championship. And here
have
am I like,
fun.
dee, 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 yeah. And then I go and ask Jovan about Bali. And this was a big changing point. It was in October. I asked him about Bali, maybe a little bit before. And it was just a one-on-one meeting. And he just like cusses
Nah.
me out in his office. Just, he's
Cool.
like, yeah, sure. By the end of it, he was like, yeah, you can go, but don't ever come back. Like, go
Right.
ahead,
Like, I
go
won't
surf
see
in
you again.
Bali. Yeah, and the water polo world didn't understand my surfing career either, so they probably just thought I just wanted to
Yeah.
go, like, hang out or party in Bali. Like, they didn't understand
Yeah.
that I was actually like, "This is an amazing opportunity."
Yeah.
Um, so come out, like, tears, and I was like, "What am I do? F Yovan, F water polo." I write an email to my parents in my dorm room, miserable, and I said, like, I forwarded it to him, and I wrote it to actually, like, to Jovan saying that I'm gonna step away from the team. And I sent it to my parents. I
Wow.
was like, can I send this to them? Like, I'm done." And they made a deal with me, and they're like, "Just stick out 1 year. Like, give it like,
Yeah.
make it through 1 season." I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, deal," but I hate the dorms. I was living with all the polo girls at the time, and I, like, didn't wanna lean into polo yet. They're amazing people. Some of them are my best friends now, but, like, I just didn't like it. So I was like,
Mhm.
"'Kay, can I move into the sorority house then at the end of semester?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "Fine, we'll let you move into the sorority house as long as you stick out 1 year of water polo." So I
Yeah.
really, like, leaned into, I think the sorority was so great as for me because 'cause I've always been somebody about like, that needs balance. Like, I've never been all in water polo, or I never lived with teammates,
Yeah.
or anything like that. Like, I needed to go surf, I needed to go party with different people, I needed to into the
Yeah.
sorority, I needed different groups to be able to recharge and I guess find a balance, and that was the best thing for me in order to give a certain aspect of my life the 100% it needed, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. I mean, you gotta switch off somehow. If you're just gonna go so stale if you're all in all the time. And also, any sport you do at that high of a level, especially water polo, where you're doing 2-a-days almost every day, it's so intense and all consuming. Like,
Yeah.
you need to change the scenery. It's funny, my mom went to USC and was a swimmer, and she was a DG, and she says all the time, like, she would sleep at the DG house all the time, and
Yep.
it was, like, so helpful for her just to have like, a comfortable, nice house to go to and, like, cruise, but also just to switch it off. Like, she would kinda say something similar, so that's interesting. I mean, and it
Yeah.
was, of course, fun too. Like, it's fun to be in
No,
college and
don't
be in
get
a
me wrong.
sorority,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, and those houses are nice. Like, we were spoiled,
Yeah.
and but
Yeah.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
especially the fall, and I learned throughout the years, like, fall, I went hard. It was game days, there was a bunch of date dashes, it was like party time. And
Yeah.
then spring was season, it was like, "'Kay, gotta reel it back, like, we
Yeah.
gotta
No more
focus on
9-0.
season." No more, there's always 9-0 always made it in every once in a while, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
I
so
s
that
I still regret never visiting you and going to the
I
9-0
can't
with
believe
you.
you I know. It's
I actually am
legendary.
bummed. I was like, "Frick, I didn't go to college." That was my college experience. I had an invite with Kaleigh, like, I had the in, and I never went, and I'm bummed. Anyways,
Oh, that we
continue.
would have been
Sorry.
trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And then so I started, I was like, okay, that's the deal. Season starts and I'm starting to get, compliance is reaching out to me. So back in before the new NIL, compliance was
Mhm.
really strict. You had to obviously fill out these forms, you had to go through these meetings to be able to be eligible to be a student athlete. They wanted to make sure you weren't
Mhm.
getting paid, and it was very strict. And remember, at that time, that's when USC got in trouble for Reggie Bush. So we were in sanctions my
Yeah.
freshman and sophomore year. So compliance was like really stepping down. So compliance invites me to their office. I'm like, what does compliance need? Like, what the heck's going on? And they're like,
Yeah.
hey, you're a sponsored athlete for surfing. Like, your name and likeliness is on these websites. You're promoting these sponsors. You can't do that. I was like, what are you
Oh,
talking about? Like,
wow.
what do you mean I can't have O'Neill as a sponsor? Like if I can't promote them, they're not going to sponsor me or like give me money or
Right.
whatever, send me on
Yeah.
trips. So it was
Yeah.
back and forth for a while, and it ended up being that I had to get my name taken down from all the websites I was on. I mean, I think I was sponsored by a handful of companies at that point. Remember, I
Yeah.
just came off 6 months ago. I just had the best results of my amateur career,
Yeah.
and I had to get taken down, and I was supposed to take all the stickers off my surfboards. And luckily, my
Oh,
sponsors
man.
were understood, but they're like, I don't blame them. They're like, well, we can't like pay you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
illegal. So we had to technically pay back my sponsors for everything that I've got. And we made
Whoa.
they were cool about it. Like we definitely worked the system, but
Yeah.
they had to show itemized receipts of what I've received. And like remember, you would go into the factory at that time and take, you know,
Oh, everything off
handfuls
the
of
shelf.
whatever
Yeah.
you wanted off the shelf. Like they're like,
Yes.
yeah, go
Yes.
wild, and like have
Yeah.
backpacks or duffel bags and just go.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we made like these fake itemized receipts, and compliance is like, okay, cool. We had to like show my mom's like checking accounts, paying them back. And then
Whoa.
my punishment, I mean, besides that, was I had to sit out the first tournament of the season. And the first
Oh,
tournament of the season was at Stanford, and it was like the big coming out party. It was like kind of like to
right.
figure out who's who, but you're playing the best teams. So
Right.
instead, I'm filming up on the stands my teammates. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell am I doing? Not only am I essentially losing my sponsors, I'm not
Yeah.
even
Can't do
playing.
surfing now. And now I'm
No.
not Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
And
shocker.
so that was pretty heavy. And like now, now you see all these NC2A people making like millions of dollars for basically
I
what I
know.
got in trouble for. I was like, what the hell?
That's
It's a
so
different
lame.
sport. Surfing's not even
Y-
NC2A sport. It's ridiculous.
That's what's surprising to me is that you got in trouble and they got weird about it, and it's not even a sport in college or NCAA. Like it's not related. I don't
No,
understand that. I mean, I guess they just felt scared because of the Reggie Bush stuff, like you said. But
I'm sure.
yeah, that makes no sense in my head because it's not related to the actual college at all. 0%.
No, so I was like obviously so bitter and so sad and like,
Yeah.
what am I? I'm 19 years old. I'm like, oh, is my surf career over? Did I just blow it with these relations? Like at that point I was probably
Yeah.
riding for O'Neill for 6 or something years.
Yeah.
So that was like a big change, but I was like, okay, if this is the case, like I don't want to get the team in trouble, so we took care of it before season started. And
Yeah.
then slowly throughout that season, I worked my way up, and like Jovan kind of like gave a second look and like gave me some chances, and I was just taking advantage of the opportunities I got. And before
Mhm.
you know it, by the end of my freshman year, I mean, we got 4th place. It was like kind of a disaster of a year. Leadership was bizarre, but I regained my love and kind of proved that like, oh no, I actually really know this sport. And I was the first off the bench. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
end of that year, I revisited the contract I made with my parents and was like, okay, I can stick it out. Like, I want to win a national championship. Surfing will be there in 3 years. So that
Yeah.
point was kind of like, all right, I got 3 more years of college. I love the college experience, the partying, the game days, the sorority, all that too. Like
You're a
I
college girl
made,
through and through.
yeah, it was so fun. And I made my
Yeah.
schedule Tuesdays and Thursdays only. So
Mm.
Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, I couldn't have my wetsuits in the sorority house. There was like nowhere to hang them or hide them. So they were in like wet, soaking, gross in my car, like probably getting moldy. But I would
Smells
drive
so
after
bad.
morning practice, so gross, after morning practice in traffic to go surf El Porto. El Porto, like the shittiest way. Sorry
The
for my El
worst wave
Porto
ever.
locals, but like
No,
the worst
it's
wave.
terrible. Yeah,
But it was
it's
the closest
horrible.
wave to me. So I would go surf El
Yeah.
Porto and then come back, take a nap, and go to afternoon practice. So like I definitely
Wow.
worked the system and committed, and it wasn't like I wasn't surfing at all. I was still surfing 3 to 4 days a week in college, but
Yeah.
it just looked different.
Yeah, totally. I mean, which makes sense. At some point, you had to kind of choose a path in one or the other. You couldn't just be half in, half out a little bit anymore, and
Yeah.
you can't do it all. So that totally makes sense. And then talk to us. You go through school. Do you guys win NCAAs when you were there?
Yeah,
A
we
couple
won. We
times.
won my junior year. I was co-captain junior, senior year. Junior year was like killer. All the 2012 Olympians came back. So Stanford was
Yep.
stacked. They had like 4 or 5 Olympians. we had this hodgepodge group. We got a couple foreigners, like an Aussie, 2 Aussies, a Spanish chick, a Hungarian, and then like us. Like
Nice.
everyone always said the Stanford team was like the best Stanford team ever assembled, and we beat
Mm.
them 3 out of the 4 times we played them. And our finals is
Oh.
at Harvard, and it still goes down to this day the longest NC2A finals ever to go. So in water polo and college, there's different rules for the national team now, but in college, it goes to 2 3-minute overtimes, and if it's still tied after that, it goes to sudden death. So
Wow.
we were tied after the overtimes, and we went to 3 periods of sudden death. So essentially, we played like 9 quarters of water polo. And the
Wow.
Spanish girl, who's one of the best players in the world and like one of my favorite players I've ever played with, Ani, just like got fouled. She's like, I'm over it. This game's too long. And just like picked up the ball, just bar in, which is like the coolest shot you can do in water polo. Wins. We win
Yeah.
immediately. Everyone goes crazy. We jump in. Like one of the most
Oh.
exhilarating feelings ever. So yeah, that was like still to this day one of the coolest wins ever. So we won
Yeah.
once my junior year.
Okay, very cool, as you certainly deserve to. And then talk to us. You finish up college. Obviously, the next step from there is the Olympics. If you're in, a sport like water polo, and having the college career that you did, and kind of knowing, Rio was going to be coming around. What then does that look like for you to transition from college to national team and trying to make the Olympics? How does that even work in water polo, kind of,
Yeah.
for
So
those
the
that
way
don't know?
it works, like what I mentioned before, you have these girls, and most people come from the pipeline I talked about earlier, the Olympic Development Program.
Mhm.
They're getting eyes on them from a young age through, junior and cadet teams. So our head coach is always looking around for new talent. And it's not that, like water polo is a small sport. You kind of know who's good, who's not. But after
Yeah.
every quad, there's usually a big turnover rate. Especially that 2012 team, there was tons of returners because in Olympic water polo became a sport in 2000 for women's.
Yep.
USA got silver, bronze, silver. Finally in 2012 they win gold. So there
Mhm.
was 2 teammates, Heather Petrie and Brenda Villa, that were on all 4 of those teams. Heartbreak after
Wow.
heartbreak after heartbreak, finally got their gold. And there was a lot of women that stuck around to get that gold. So
Yeah.
tons of retirement happened after 2012. You come to 2013, and there was only 4 returners going into
Wow.
the 2016 quad. So that obviously opens up a lot of space for newbies to come.
Yeah.
2013, I almost feel like a broken record because it was very similar in a way of my college career. But 2013, after that NC2As, I get like the last second call up from our head coach, Adam, to try out. And
Hmm.
it's kind of a forever tryout process. You just start with maybe 40 or 50 girls, and then he'll invite maybe 18 to full time by the end of the year leading out to the Olympics. And you're
Okay.
still trying out. The Olympic team is only announced 2 months before the Olympics. So you're
Wow.
competing for
You don't
13
even know.
spots. No,
Wow, that's crazy.
and
And you just
nothing's
keep showing
guaranteed.
up, grinding, grinding, grinding. I mean, unless you're like the
Grinding.
superstar and you're probably gonna make it. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
No, it's heavy. I mean, the competition that creates within the team is great. It's what pushes you. But I mean, imagine there's a bunch of 18 girls trying to hit 13 spots. Like it can get
Hmm.
catty, it can get judgmental. You catch yourself worrying too much about someone else when you should be worrying about yourself. Like it's wild. But
Yeah.
I got invited to that first big camp, so maybe 50 people, and I was like, I gotta go. I can't say no, but how am I gonna do this? Like my heart's not really in it. I like dreaded showing up. I didn't grow up with these girls. Like these girls all grew
Yeah.
up together, traveling the world together because they did that development program. Like, I don't know anyone here. And
Yeah.
I had it was a weekend camp, and he was going to announce a travel team to China for a tournament. And
Mhm.
I felt like I had a good showing. So I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I have surf contests. I signed up for like a Peru contest. I had the US Open. And I was like, what
Wow.
am I gonna do? And
Again.
I was like, again. So I'm like, shoot. And I emailed Adam, and I was like, hey,
Mm.
Adam, like, I just want to let you know, I'm not sure if I'm on the team or not, but if I am, would you not announce my name. I have these surfing commitments. Like, I want to just give surfing a shot. I've promised myself this. And if it doesn't work out, like, I would love to be invited back in fall. And he's
Yeah.
like, let's chat when you get to practice. So I was like, fuck, okay. So I get to practice a little early and sit down with him. Luckily, he's not a Yobon. Luckily, he's not a Coach B. He's like the softest coach I've had.
Finally.
And yeah, finally. And I sit down and he's like, you made the team, right? And I was like, I had a feeling. That's why I wanted to send that to you before, because I had in my mind that I would probably maybe come back. Like, and I didn't want my teammates that I barely knew think, oh, who's this surfer girl who doesn't make a team and then doesn't show up for it.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, I mean, I understand. I respect your decision. Like, yeah, I'll probably reach back and fall. Like, good luck with surfing. I'll act like you got cut and you can kind of go on your way. I was like, okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
And I ended up having like a mediocre result in Peru. I'm trying to think of where else I went. Maybe I was even in Hossegor. Like, I remember Peru,
yeah.
US Open. There were kind of like mediocre results, and an email came back in September inviting me to the fall. And it was just like, so this was fall of 2013. And that was the moment when I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I need to fully commit. My goal is Rio 2016. Surfing can wait. It was always like surfing got pushed back. Surfing got pushed back. So I got invited back and I was just like committed like no other, and just went all in, studied plays, did the video scouting, did extra reps, extra work. Like, I kind of worked always in silence or darkness. It was one of my traits. And I did that on a whole nother level. And obviously it paid off. And I just immersed myself in the sport and just, all of it.
Yeah. Did you feel like, because for your whole life, really, it sounds like, I mean, you were doing water polo, but then always getting pulled back to surfing until this point where you went, all right, I'm honing in on water polo. I'm going for it. Do you feel like that made you almost like, oh, I have a lot to make up for in a way, even if you didn't, but in water polo, because you were I don't want to say distracted by surfing. You were following this other dream, which was good. But because these other girls had been working the whole year before you, while you were doing, surfing and traveling around, was that on your heart a little, like, frick, I got a lot of room to make up here?
No, because I think there was part of me even in college that did that. Like, I knew I worked harder than
Yeah.
most of my teammates in college for water polo. I just found time to surf. And even during the national team, I surfed in between double days. Like, I specifically remember,
crazy.
luckily it was off season and we had a small group training, but it was February. Must have been 2014 or 15. It was 2015. And I was surfing Newport. I rushed home. So we trained at Los Alamitos at the time. I rushed home, waves were pumping, paddle at 28th Street. We had 3-hour breaks in between. So I basically had like, I could only surf like an hour. And it was sick. It was pumping. It was so fun. Photographer Tom Kozad was on the beach. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get some shots. Because in my mind, I'm still surfing. I'm still promoting. Like, O'Neill was still with me at that time. And I duck dive, lost my board kind of like a kook. And it just went over the falls, hit me in my head. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucked. I looked, I'm like bleeding. I was like, oh, I better go in. And Tom was on the beach. He looked at it and he's like, he's an anesthesiologist. So he looks at me, he's like, oh, we need to take you. Like, you got to go to the hospital. Yeah. I'm like, shit, hospital? Like, practice is in like an hour and a half. Like, I gotta go to practice. So we go, he drops me off at my house. No. And then my mom takes me to the hospital 10 staples later. And I remember calling Adam. I was like, hey, Adam, I'm going to be late for practice. Like, I actually have to go get some staples in my head. And he's like, what the like, laughed at me. And I made it to practice to sit and watch the end. I probably get there at like, practice was 1:30 to 4:30. I probably show up at like 2:30. And, again, it's a small group. It was off season. It was okay. But all he said to me, and this is the only thing he's ever said to me about surfing, was he comes over and I'm sitting watching, obviously can't get in the water. And he's like, hey, I'm not going to tell you not to surf because I know it's important for your like for you, but you just have to be careful.
Yeah. Like,
and that's all I said. So, yeah, so I was definitely surfing. I was definitely still surfing. But yeah, I think there was just a whole nother level. And I realized, like, look, like, I have never played an international game. Like, I don't know who is on these other teams. The first time I ever played Russia, I was guarding one of the best players in the world, number 3 ECAT. and I didn't know who she was, which was, I think, a
Yeah.
blessing in disguise for me. But I go and I think I get burned and I get ejected, and I'm like looking up, and Adam's like, "Okay, Kaleigh, you know who that is?" I was like, "No, like literally no, I don't know who anyone is on any team." And he's like, "That's ECAT. She's one of the best players in the world. Never guard her again." I was like,
Noted.
"Got it, coach.
Noted.
Got it." So I think like
Learning.
the naiveness was almost fun because I wasn't intimidated by anyone, and everything was so
Yeah.
new that I really dived into the scouting and to the prep and obviously to the hard work and just learning new things and pushing my body and like my water polo skills to a whole nother level. So
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, what you were saying is right. Like I totally dove in on another level of commitment, but I do think everything that I did before to get me there was necessary because
Mm-hmm.
of the balance that I needed. And like I brought so much of what I've learned in surfing has actually come and been some of my biggest strengths in water polo in regards of like focusing on what's controllable, like being chill and relaxed, not getting upset about refs. Like, who cares about refs? Like, dude, go get judged by judges in the ocean. Like, good luck.
Oh, yeah. Good
Like,
luck.
I hear my teammates I would hear them complain about refs, and I was like, dude, you gotta let it
No,
go. Like, they're just calling
no
the game
idea.
as like, yeah. So I think there was
Best they
so much,
see
and
it.
yes, and it kept me really present. Like I was always one of the calmer under pressure players. Like I was never the fastest or strongest, but I saw the game really well. I was
Mhm.
great in big moments, things like that. That I think a lot of it came from surfing.
From surfing. That's really cool. I mean, it makes sense, honestly. You learn if you're going to do another sport at a high level, it's going to teach you different things and perspective in different ways, for your other sport. Um, okay. And then let's go into the Olympics. Let's talk about Rio. We have talked about that a little bit, but that was a very dominating year for your team. You guys absolutely crushed it. What was that like? I mean, any Olympic Games for 81 is incredible. This was obviously your first of what ended up being 3 different Olympic Games you went to. But yeah, what was that like for you and just within the team and the camaraderie, and how did you approach it really? I mean, obviously this is the biggest stage of your life all of a sudden. You're going to the like Olympic Games, and
Yeah,
obviously, I'm just curious to hear what your mindset's like going into that too.
it's cool. It's like when I got to the national team and we won world champs in 2015. And I was just like, the way I felt, like people were like, yeah, celebrating, but the standard of USA water polo at that point was like, no, we go to win Olympic gold. So I remember winning
Yeah.
world champs in Russia the year before, being like, yeah, that was kind of cool, but like it didn't really feel. And I was almost like, wait, isn't it supposed
Mhm.
to feel bigger? Like just won a world championship, and it
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
But I think because our eyes were always set on gold medals in the Olympics. And this team, like I said earlier, there's only 4 returners. I think I shared this in a prior episode, but there's 4 returners. So we're all, a lot of young people, a lot of newbies, a lot of first timers. And that brings excitement. And that brings, just a lot of camaraderie. We're all kind of the same age, kind of doing the same thing. So yeah, like Saturday after practice, we're all 20 something years old. It's like, come over to my house. Let's go to the bar, like go to the bars in
Yeah.
Newport. Like it was
Yeah.
just really fun times. And it was all of our firsts, and we have so much family support.
Yeah.
So we kind of just like shut the world up in a way. And you could
Yeah.
see it coming. We got our butts kicked. People wanted to beat us up, but we just kept standing our grounds, and we
Mhm.
trained really hard, worked really hard, had fun times. And so going into the Olympics, it's funny, like you think you're going to make it this big, grandiose thing. And I imagine this is how some surfers felt maybe in Final Five. It's like, no, just remind yourself it's just another game, it's just another
Mhm.
heat. So
Yeah.
there's never been like hoorah in USA water polo. Like our team meetings, you would laugh like before games are 10 minutes long. There's no
Yeah.
like, all right, let's go. No cussing, no pregame speech. It's like very casual, go over the very simple game plan. Like we aren't
Yeah.
doing anything crazy. Like water polo, you can't really do anything crazy. Everyone
Yeah.
runs essentially the same stuff
Right.
against like tactics and after goals and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's a very simple, and it's like, okay, we all put our hands in. All right, team on three, 1, 2, 3, team. All right, now go walk and get on the bus. Like
Wow.
it wasn't huge or spectacular. It was just another game, and we had just another team meeting and just another pregame warm up.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
think when you have those routines or rituals, it makes you grounded and present because it reminds you of like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know how to play this sport. But we came off, we dominated everyone. I think we played 6 games. We were down 30 seconds of one game because the
Yeah.
Hungarians scored first. Besides that, we beat every team by like 4 or 5, 6 goals. And then
Yeah.
winning a gold medal is just insane. Family was there, friends were there, crying on the podium, gold medals around your neck.
God.
And yeah. So
Coolest ever.
that team was really like spectacular. I think if you look back on it now, it probably will go down as one of the better teams assembled. I mean, obviously we'll see, but very
Yeah.
athletic, very fast, great leadership, just everything you could imagine. It just came together.
It seemed like from the outside looking in and just knowing you now, even just talking to you more since we started the podcast, it feels like your Rio team was really, and you just said it, but just kind of light and easy and fun, and everyone was just clicking. Like it seemed like the
Yep.
camaraderie was great. You just mentioned the leadership was great. Like it just didn't seem like it was forced, and you all were just doing what you needed to do, and it was really fun. Like just,
Yes.
which is really, I don't know. I mean, for anyone who plays sports, but you would relate to this for sure. It's funny how sometimes you compete and everything feels forced and hard, and like you're trying to do it right, but you can't. And then sometimes you just hit this flow state. But I'd imagine with a team, that's even harder to find because you're dealing with, 13 different girls or women, what plus coaches, whatever it is. And so, but it does really seem like that Rio team for the Olympics was just everyone was in flow state together and individually, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
for sure. And I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't always perfect. Like, people get on each other's nerves, people piss each other off. You're closer with other
Yeah.
people than others. Like, that's inevitable. And I probably any team sport, but especially female team sports. But and also that was, gosh, 10 years ago now. So I'm sure I've probably blacked out a lot too. But no, it really,
Yeah.
for if I'm comparing all 3 journeys, yes, very much so. That was the light, fun, new experience
Yeah.
compared to the others.
To compare to the others. So you win gold, you guys dominate. I still remember watching that. So cool. You came home and then injuries happen. I don't want to get too far into that because we did do a deep dive on the injuries, especially your injury in Korea, which was in between
Yeah.
that and Tokyo, right? If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
so 2017, I thought I was done, surfed on the tour, kind of similar story. Like, I
Yeah.
swear my trajectories are, it's like very funny. Every chapter I go kind of seems very similar. Like, try to give surfing a
Yeah.
shot, put so much pressure to make it happen on the QS that one year. Realize, okay, this is going to be like a 4 to 5 year commitment. If it even does happen to make the tour, like, I need to make a decision now if I want to come back for Tokyo. Decided to come back for Tokyo, had to work my way up. It was a really competitive team, so many of Rio came back. We only had 2 people retire, 3 people retire.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was highly competitive, and I came back and, it was very frowned upon to take a year off at that point. Like,
Yeah.
I was one of the first
Yeah.
to do it. I lost a lot of trust in some teammates. I had to work my way back. I was out of shape. I sat games. Like, I knew what I was signing up for a little bit. Like, I knew I'd have
Yeah.
to work my way back. I wasn't worried about that. But, and then finally 2019 year, go ahead.
Sorry, I almost just rose my hand. Did you feel like because you won the gold medal? I think this is important. That like so much pressure was taken off, though. Is that why you felt like, all right, I've done this. I've achieved the highest I could achieve in this sport of water polo, a gold medal. I feel okay to take my year off and pursue surfing. And if they want to look down on me on that, then that's so be it. Like, did that take a lot of the pressure off to be able to do that?
No, not even. Like, the standard of water polo at USA Water Polo at the time was like that high. Like, you can't take a year off.
That's
You have to fully commit.
crazy.
Or else you're not going to win another gold medal, or else you're not going to be good enough, or you're letting your team down. Like, there's a lot of just commitment to team, not even just yourself and your dreams and goals. Like, you had to be an unselfish teammate. And in ways, I think people thought I was being selfish for taking a year off to go
Mm-hmm.
surf. And it was never
Mm-hmm.
intention just to take a year off. Like, I always said it in the back of my head, but like, I thought I was done with water polo. Like, I thought I achieved my gold medal and I wanted to
Yeah,
surf.
that makes
But
sense.
And it is a trip. Like, people talk a little bit about post-Olympic depression, and it was real, and I probably felt it the most after those games because I am 24 years old, just achieved the biggest dream of my life, and it's a little bit like, now what? Especially after the month or two after, when everyone's celebrating you, you get invited to a bunch of cool stuff, and then it just starts getting a lot quieter. And then you're kind of in your thoughts, and you're like, okay, well, now what do I do? And I put into surfing, but I put so much pressure into surfing and wanted it to look a certain way that I wasn't even enjoying. Like, I had this amazing opportunity to go on the QS and travel the world with some friends and some coaches, and I like was stiff and hard and like not myself during it. But I came back 2018, worked my way back out of shape. 2019, I had a good year. And yeah, we mentioned the injury in South Korea. Obviously life-changing. Changed my perspective, changed my personality probably a little bit, but it made Tokyo that much more important to get to. That team, I think, until 2019 was great. Like, we had the camaraderie that was built off of 2016 because it's essentially the same team with a couple newbies. And I swear, we like loved each other. We were getting along. We were doing a bunch of fun stuff. We are still having parties, fun outside of water polo. We're dominating in water polo. And then after South Korea, was a bummer for me, but we kept moving forward. And then COVID happened. And COVID, I think, was a big change of the heartbeat of that team. I think people's different views. I think what we did as a sports psych of how we kind of went about COVID. We were still meeting on Zoom 4 days a week during COVID and doing mindfulness and stuff. And I think some people probably needed that, but I don't know if that was the best decision. And there's no blame whatsoever because who knows what to do in that situation? Like, that's never happened before. But, I think we shut down early March whenever like the world shut down. And then that Monday we're on Zoom. And it was like, I think what maybe for me, because everyone's different, so you have to take the pulse on the team. Like, maybe some people were super anxious and felt what a lot of people did feel during that time. So maybe those meetings were important to just connect and be with community, because some people weren't, I lived in Newport. My views on COVID were a lot different. I was with my family. I was, seeing friends. While other people took it very, they were very strict and they're locked in their rooms. So maybe those meetings were really important. So I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way, but for me, I just like dreaded the 11 o'clock meetings. And then, we brought in stuff that I don't think we needed to, just like politically got involved in the team. And I was like, I don't know if this is the right thing. Like, I actually pushed back to Adam a handful of times. He would send us emails and podcasts, and Sports Psych would dive into certain things. And it just started dividing the team. The whole climate. I mean, we saw it all over. It wasn't just our tiny little water polo team. It was the world.
This is a global thing that we saw divide everyone. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. And one teammate retired. She just couldn't, she didn't want to stick around for a whole nother year. And there was a lot of questions like, we didn't even know Tokyo was going to happen at that point. So she's like, why am I going to stick around? I wasn't even totally in love with it leading up to this. Like, I'm not going to stick around and maybe not have this dream come true. She's out. Which helps my case. Which helps a lot of people's cases too, because she's like one of the best players in the entire world, an absolute stud. So I was like, okay, I mean, that sucks for our team, but we always had the next up mentality. So it's like, okay, we can still win without her. We can still win in these weird conditions. So when we came back, we came back maybe June 1st. So 3 months later. And we just had such strict rules, and there was so much pressure on our sports med and our trainer to follow by these rules and to take care of us. And they put it burnt them out. We got over it. We were lifting with masks, and remember, we trained at Los Alamitos. So that's LA County, which was on a whole nother level than Orange County too. So you had to follow really strict protocols, and we trained on a training base, like a joint force training base. So there's even higher rules. And I think that was a big divider of our team. We stuck together. Obviously, we were still dominant. We lost our first game January. Let me think if this was right. This might have been right before COVID. So January, we ended a 69 game winning streak. So there
Whoa,
was like
69.
69 game winning streak. We lost to Australia in Australia, January of 2020. And I was like, okay, like things aren't flowing quite like they used to. Straight into COVID, straight into this division. Finally, they announced, that the Olympics were on. We make it to the Olympics barely because one of our teammates had to get, we landed in Tokyo, crazy protocols, no friends, no family. And we get tested immediately when we land. Somebody's test was inconclusive. So
gosh.
Our
Mayday
games almost ended right there because, then they go to close contact. Obviously, we're a team, so everyone was close contact. We would have been done.
Yep.
They run it again. Sure enough, she was fine. We were in like a holding box for like 6 hours when we landed. And it was fine. And then, you're just on pins and needles. Water polo plays every other day for 2 straight weeks. Like, we had to test every single day to get cleared.
You did.
So it's not like,
okay. So you're testing every day. So you guys are terrified the whole time. Just like
Terrified.
Nobody touch me, nobody come near me. And
Yeah,
if anyone
there
tests
was, like-
positive, you're done. Everyone's done.
Yeah. And I
Jeez.
chose to go to opening ceremonies. It was an individual decision or a team decision of what we wanted to do. A lot of people were scared. And I was like, dude, I made it this far, especially after my journey. I was like, I'm going. And I said that from the beginning. And I'm, of course, getting texts from teammates. And there's people like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know. Oh, my dad says I shouldn't go. And I was like, this is part of
this is the Olympics.
Yeah. I was like, dude. So I took a teammate, a first timer with me. She was really nervous. I was like, I'm going with the guys' team regardless. Like, or I'll go by myself.
Yeah.
Do you want to come? And she went, and it was a really cool, bonding moment for us.
Cool.
And we went, and then the next day we played Japan at 1 p.m. And, you get home at 11 from opening ceremonies. And both Steph and I, we played great that game, and we're just like, F yeah, we didn't catch COVID. And people were talking smack on us, within the team, being like, I can't believe they were how selfish.
Guaranteed. Yeah, actually, that's pretty gnarly. You probably had a lot of pushback on your team, which is hard. That's creating even more divide that was already there. That's a hard position to be in.
Yeah, but that was kind of my mindset that whole time. I was like, dude, I made it this far. I'm going to enjoy it. I'll be smart. And it was, of course, it was just bizarre. We lost a game in group play. We had a kumbaya moment. We lost to Hungary. Yeah. Kumbaya moment. People spoke in a post-game meeting, some tears, some I'm just stressed out. I'm freaking out. And once people said that out loud, it was like, okay, well then other teammates can hold that stress and that pressure. Maybe someone that's not as stressed will take some of your anxiety on. That's the point of a team. So it was actually pretty cool. After that moment, I felt like all the shit we went through for the last year, we kind of just said, you know what? Screw it. This is our opportunity. Let's come together and let's just go for it. And we had 3 or 4 games left after that. We beat Russia for our last group play. We ended up still coming out first in our group play, played Canada in the quarters, had a great game, played Russia again. Barely won. It was wild. Got really close, really sketchy, but we ended up pulling away the very end. And then we played Spain in the finals, who's a longtime rival of ours, and we just kicked their ass, won by 7 goals. One of the most fun games I've ever played with. Yeah. And, one of the most fun games I've ever played. And that moment was really cool because it's this is what we miss. This team has it, cheering each other on, being fired up. I felt like it was almost like 2019 again or 2016 again. We finally just said, screw everything. We're going to go out there and we're just going to dominate. And it was so
And it
fun.
came together at the right time.
Yeah. And it was cool. Normally you get, you celebrate with your friends and family, but there was no friends and family there. So we hung out at the pool. We had some Gatorade that was made for us, and we're sipping on some Gatorade on the pool deck and just chilling out and just be like, holy crap, we did it. And then we went back to the village, and it's we have nowhere to go, so we're just in our apartments. and like hanging
Raging.
out and having this moment that we would have never had otherwise with, 20 people,
Yeah.
if you're including staff and teammates. And it was like casual, we're playing some games, like nothing was crazy, sipping some drinks and just like
Yeah.
relishing in the win. And also just what a crazy journey it was for so many people. And
Yeah.
then and then the next night was closing ceremonies, and we had, like, a little house party with, like, a handful of other USA
Sick.
athletes, and it was kinda like, killer. Like, obviously, I wish my friends and family were there when we, like, shut Tokyo down, but
Yeah.
it was special having those moments too.
Yeah, for sure. It's just something you'll never forget, and you gotta appreciate how close you all got probably from that and just being
Yeah.
able to be together after the win. That's really cool. Um, okay, and then let's transition, I wanna be mindful of time, into your
Yep.
last Olympics, your 3rd Olympics, pretty incredible. You went to 3 Olympic Games. I mean, that's just insane. Obviously, Paris didn't go as planned. Different outcome than the previous 2, which is just crazy too. The expectation on
Yeah.
you guys, you'd won 2 gold medals, and the expectation was, to win another gold. Like you had said, like that's kind of what USA water polo. That's the expectation there, and because you guys are that good, but also crazy that that's like, well, if you don't win gold, wasn't that good. That's like what it seems
Yeah.
like. The
Yeah, it's
perspective is,
true.
which is just
At least for
like,
me, like,
wow,
yeah,
yeah,
like, I don't care, like, if I got silver, bronze, or 4th, which we ended up getting 4th, like, it makes no difference to me. Like, it was gold or bust,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
I feel like some other teammates may feel otherwise, but yeah, so that quad, remember, Tokyo was 2021, Paris stayed at 2024, so actually there was
yeah.
only 3 years between, which made the
Hmm.
decision to come back that much easier. 'Cause that
Yeah.
first year's pretty mellow, in the
Right.
quad, like, you just come back in the summertime. We had world champs in Budapest, which is one of my favorite places to go, so I signed up. Adam's like, "I thought
Yeah.
I was gonna be done." He ends our team or my coffee meeting with him, like, our debrief of Tokyo quad, being like, you can still play water polo, right?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Damn it." Like, I wish you didn't say
There is
that.
the seed that got planted. I'm coming
Yes.
back.
2 months later, I was like,
That's
"Yeah,
funny.
yeah, I'm coming back, let's go." And we
Yeah.
actually had a lot of people because of the turmoil of Tokyo. We lost a lot of people that I think would have continued to play if things were different.
Mhm.
Whether that was COVID that extra year, or just the team, or the dynamics, or whatever. But we lost some of the best players in the world at the peak of their career. They're
Mm.
22 to 24 years old.
Yeah.
Um, Hall of Famers. Like we lost maybe
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 of them. So we
Wow.
knew that that the Paris quad was gonna be our biggest test, but we also believe in ourselves and like, yeah, we can still do it. We still have,
Yeah, of
you know,
course.
the Maddie Musselmans, the Rachel Fatals, the Ashley Johnsons, the Maggie Steffens. Like you have those 4 people,
The
you're
Kaleigh
always in
Gilchrist.
contention. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was more of a setup player,
Yeah.
but
Well, we
um
need those. We need those.
so
Yeah,
we
continue,
went
sorry.
to we went to Budapest and we won world champs. And
Mm.
it was like, screw all you guys that doubted us, like we still
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
And then we lost another after world champs. One of our best players retired, and that was kind of like caught off. I was caught off guard. Like I thought she would stick around. She's the lefty. She was just like becoming one of the best players in the world.
Hmm.
And so that was a really big, especially lefties. The U.S. doesn't have a lot of lefty water polo players. It's
Yeah.
such a big difference, angle wise for shooting, and just having somebody there on that right side. So it
Yep.
really does change a lot because you could drop from that side if they're just righties. Just the angles to score is a lot harder.
Hmm.
But you had to have the next up mentality. You're like, okay, so we don't have Steph. Like, and I remember out of all the people that have retired or decided not to continue, that was the one that I was like, "Fuck, like this is gonna be
Yeah.
tough." Like, and
Without her.
we played
Yeah.
on the same side together, so we had good mojo.
Yeah.
She was actually the one I walked with Tokyo opening ceremonies with.
Aw.
So it was like, okay. She was actually my little sis at USC. I was a senior when she was a freshman, and she drove me nuts. So we came
Oh.
full circle by the time she was done. Um,
Nice.
and then 2023 came, world champs in Japan. We got 5th place. We lost our quarterfinal game versus Italy, and
Mhm.
that was the first time I've ever lost a tournament on the U.S. national team. we won every single
Whoa.
tournament I was a part of, and it was like
That's
it was
crazy. That's
it's crazy.
crazy. You guys are that good. I
Yeah.
mean, like, wow. That's incredible. Wow.
And I just remember being angry, but it was also like, holy shit, like we got work to do. Okay, fast forward, you get
Yeah.
to where it was weird. Like we had a lot of world champs. Usually world champs are every other year, but because of Tokyo and COVID, it pushed things around. So we actually had 3 world championships in 2 years, which is like unheard of.
Mm.
But just like the way the contracts worked and stuff. So February of 2024. So now we're in the Olympic year. We're in Doha, Qatar, and we win world champs. So February we win world champs. We're like, okay, like it wasn't easy, but we did it. Like,
But we did it. Yeah, we can do it.
our next tournament's the Olympics. Like, let's do it. And
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but after world champs, something changed. And I think the Paris quad was one of the most fun quads we've ever had until it wasn't. And I don't know if we just like, you know, we got a little softer, like didn't train as hard. Obviously, it starts at leadership and it works its way down. So there's a lot of blame on coaches. Then it comes to us as leaders. You know, you have 4 or 5 3-time Olympians. Like, so I take responsibility in a lot of it. And then you have these youngers that have to fill these giant shoes, like such big shoes. Like I almost feel bad that they had to step in and fill some of the shoes that they had to at that point. And no one, like there's no one person to blame or one group to blame, but it was very much like no one was stepping up the way they should have. And it started after that world champs. You think we should be energized and like put our head down and grind, but it was almost like we took the foot off the pedal and relaxed. And I think the hammer should have been dropped and we should have gotten our asses kicked from basically March to June. But it wasn't the case. We kind of were like, you know, we're like, whoa, I was like waiting for it. Like, when is his coach going to freak out? When are we going to like go swim sets, like do all this? And it never came. But there was still amazing times. We're in France. We're seeing Taylor Swift in the stadium we played water polo in. Like, we're cruising around. It was just like, there's a lot of amazing moments in that quad, don't get me wrong. But you get to Paris and it just felt like, it felt different. Paris was so cool. I had such amazing friends there that came and visited. Like that Olympics probably would have been hands down the best if we won. So it was the best Olympics, I say, until the semifinals versus Australia. But you could tell it was like
crashing down.
We weren't clicking. We were a little late on things. Like we lost to Spain in our group play, and it was like it seemed like people didn't really care. And I know it's not the case. I know everyone cares, but it was just really interesting. People were sidetracked. I mean, we have things that you can't even prepare for. Maggie Stesson's sister-in-law died the night she landed in Paris unexpectedly.
Wow.
What was Lulu was 20-something years old. Then Maddie is dealing with her husband who has stage 4 cancer, whose main sole goal was to make it to Paris. You know, and these aren't like excuses whatsoever, but these are just things that you would never expect to happen, and it changes the dynamics, obviously, of the team.
You guys are human beings, and no matter what, that's going to affect you on a human being level, and that's going to affect how you perform. I mean, at the end of the day, no one can escape things that are that big, you know, happening. It's just life. So it's totally understandable.
Those are our 2 best players, and they didn't have their 2 best games, rightfully so. I would never expect them to, but we didn't step up. Like, we didn't support them and step up the way we probably should as teammates. You know, when people go through something like that, that's when you need to pick up the slack, and no one did, essentially. Not that it's all comes down to like, but when you're talking about Maggie Steffens and Maddie Musselman, who have both been MVPs of the world multiple times and Olympic gold medalists multiple times, and the most, you know, scouted players on our team. And then we have people that just didn't step up. I think some of the young girls didn't have the tournament that they wished. I didn't play the best. I think I played fine in moments and was great, but like, that was probably my least great Olympics. In playing wise too. Like, I mean, especially like if I probably wouldn't have said that if we won gold, I wouldn't even thought about it. I'd be like, yeah, dude, I played great.
Of course.
But it's looking back on it.
Of course.
And then we lost in heartbreaking fashion, and you know, we lost in a shootout when we were up both games. We lost in a shootout to Australia. We lost last second in Netherlands to get fourth. And
Yeah.
it's a really weird time after the Olympics. We actually had the first time ever after losing that third place game. We had a team meeting the next day. And it
Mhm.
was, I think, intentions to have closure, but we've never had it before. And I think there was just so much anger and resentment and sadness that there has never really been closure. And I don't think there ever will be. Whether that's how I
Hmm.
feel. Maybe the
Yeah.
girls, I'm the only one that's officially retired as of now. So maybe I'll feel that way. But maybe the
Hmm.
girls that continue to play water polo, it's like that was just a chapter of their story and journey, and they can kind of use that anger, that frustration towards being better now. And now they have a chip on their shoulder moving forward. But for me, it's like, where do
Yeah.
I put this? Where do I put these emotions? Like, I don't get to
Yeah.
get in the pool and beat up on somebody.
That's hard. It's hard to, as I mean, from my perspective, it's like you've had this incredible career. You've won 2 gold medals, and much, much more even on top of that with other accolades. And it's funny how as competitors, you kinda just can get so caught up in focusing on the one that got away, way
Yeah.
more than any other thing you've achieved. That's incredible that anyone, would hope to just get 1 gold medal would be amazing, for it literally any other human being on the planet. So it's funny how as athletes, I think it's just heartbreaking, I think, when there's so much expectation and,
Yeah.
it's always easy to look back and think, "Oh, I coulda, woulda, shoulda." Why didn't we click here? It almost sounds like in the world championships, if you guys would have got beaten in that and not won, maybe that would have been better because you would have
I
had a kick in the bum,
I
you
literally
know?
have had that conversation with coach. Like, I wish we should have won Fukuoka in Japan that summer, lost in Doha in February,
Yes.
and that, and
Yeah.
then that would have been like, oh crap, we're not there yet. And I know, like,
Yeah.
even time, I mean, it's been like a year and a half, and I'm starting to get perspective. Like, I'll look at photos and be like, damn, that was so cool. And then I look at photos
Mhm.
after the game that we lost. I'm like, oh, that was such a heartbreaker. I was literally looking at
Yeah.
Allie's Instagram to get some photos for her episode. And I
Oh,
saw all
yeah.
the Paris ones. And like, granted, you guys, like, I'm 38 weeks pregnant, but I was looking at the photos and I just started crying. I was just like bawling on the couch, going through all of her Instagram photos of Paris. And it was like
Oh.
sadness, but also such joy too. And I was like, there's
Yeah.
clearly still has to be healing. And I've worked really hard, gone to therapy, done a lot of work to kind of get through it and get ready for this next chapter. But I
Yeah.
also think there's a point that that's going to live with me for the rest of my life and a little bit of regrets. And
Yeah. It will. I mean, that's just life,
yeah,
and that's just how much you care and how much we put into it. We've talked about this on another episode a little bit of even some of my heartbreaks. It's like you just try
yeah,
so hard, and when you get that close, it's often a lot harder than if you lost in the very first round, or whatever. It's like
totally.
when you're right there, you're one game away, you're one play away, whatever. It's really that close, and it's only because you try and you care so much that it hurts so
Yeah,
much, and that does stay with you forever. But you do gain perspective over time, and there's so much more to life than just these results, but I fully get it. I mean, it's hard, and it's like it's never not gonna be hard in a way, that little state on your heart's always gonna be there. It's just
for
part of it.
sure. Yeah, and
So,
then it's learning to like use that. What can I use that to motivate me in other parts of my life? Because obviously water polo
mhm,
is no more. But it's like, okay, what can I take from that loss and use it to maybe be a good wife or a good parent
yeah,
or just a good friend and support? And I think there is a lot to be taught. Like, it's so hard because it's like it does give you perspective that sports isn't everything, but it did mean a lot. But
mhm,
then you see what my teammates have gone through, Maddie
yeah,
and Maggie, and you're like, okay, it doesn't mean everything at all. Like family and
no,
friends and health, and that's what is most important.
absolutely, absolutely. And so that brings us to what is next for you? Where are you at right now? And then we'll wrap it up. But yeah, what's Kaleigh got going on other than the Sure Thing pod with me every day?
I know you guys check out. Do you see that artwork?
Yeah.
Shout out Cody
Check that
Parole.
artwork.
We're official now. Um,
So legit. Love it.
next for me, I think, there's a lot of healing that went down, a lot of prepping. Tom and I always knew I mean, I got married right after the Olympics. Tom and I knew that we wanted to start a family shortly after. So this pod will come out and I will have a child.
Yep.
So
Crazy.
hopefully I know. I'm 38 weeks, so baby can come any day. I think she's snug. Sandy May is probably not coming for a couple more weeks, but I'm just going to dive head in with parenting and trying to do my best in that aspect and trying to continue to grow my relationship, obviously with my family, but more so Tom.
Yeah.
And I kind of think like I've been focusing, which is so great that I've had the support just to focus on this pregnancy and how I want to think about parenting and just being healthy and focused on
Yeah.
health and working out and stuff. And I think I've always kind of gave myself this timeline of like, what's next? Like, let's have this child. Let's get through that postpartum period, but let's start
Yeah.
thinking like, what is next? And I have some ideas. I've been offered some pretty cool things. Snug Harbor Surf Park, wave pool in Newport. Hopefully will open in the next 2 years and I'll be the director of surf ops.
Which means I get to go surf it because
Oh
I know
yeah.
Kaleigh.
We'll do some ripping, but I just don't know. Like, do I want to try to come back for a surf contest? Maybe like a Supergirl. Like, is
Yeah.
LA 28 even an option in the back of my mind? Like, that's always kind of been in the back of my mind. So I'm just really focusing on the present and then this little baby
Yeah.
that's coming.
Oh, that's exciting. It's all going to be good things. New chapters, but
Yep.
that's like the most exciting times in life. So, and we can't wait to meet little Sandy May. She's going to be the cutest little. We might have to get her some Shore Thing merch. Should we get her a little
We
onesie with
should.
Shore
Let's
Thing
for
on
sure
it?
get her a onesie.
Let's get
Yep.
her.
All right, I'll order that
Oh,
after this.
Yep. Order it. Exactly. Yeah, you're a merch person. Okay, well, for wrap it up segment on this one, we're gonna do what you asked me when we kind of did my little interview the other week. But if you could leave a voice memo to your first national team year when you're a rookie on that team, what would you say to her?
Uh, I would say do it your way. Like, don't conform or worry too much about what other people are saying or what's supposedly the right way in that system. You can still succeed doing it your way. And just go all in. Like, it's going to be the greatest journey of your life. You're going to experience some of the most amazing times. You're going to have some really deep lows as well. You're going to meet amazing people and travel the world. So enjoy it, be present, but do it your way.
Love it. Do it your way. Thanks, Kaleigh.
Yeah.
Let's go. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you next time. KG. There you
You
go.